Good morning and welcome to today's live show. Today was a big day because we got CPI. Very fun CPI, but thank you to NVIDIA for giving us some signals that we're going to talk about in just a little bit and why we were paying attention to some kind of bounce here. And we were using NVIDIA as an example to do that. We were stating last night in last night's video, hey, if NVIDIA is showing a reversal signal and overall the market is very, very bullish to the upside, then maybe we should read into that a little bit. It doesn't mean it can't be a trap in some way, but we are noticing some upside after we did catch that signal outside of a weekly expected move. That's everything we do use. And I understand that it's confusing and sometimes these things do cross down, but you want to pay attention. We said this a couple days ago. We said this a bunch over the weekend. If I were you, I'd be paying attention to every single bullish signal that you see out there and know that that is the most likely one to play out because this market is so bullish and we do not have the big reversal signals that we were talking about. So today we are paying attention to the fact that this is continuing to move in an upward direction. We are in a very, very bullish trend. I really should have a sign, if I can ever bring the camera back or maybe get some kind of signage that says like, hey, on the macro side, it's extremely bullish. What am I? I'm kind of bearish on the macro side, especially from the investment perspective, right? I know that this is approaching some kind of top, but that doesn't mean that in the medium term, we are bullish. And for me, I was looking for a pullback. We have received some kind of pullback where we have seen some kind of signal. And then on the micro scale, it would say bearish, right? These are very bearish signals according to what's going on in your indicators. But what am I? Overall, because of the signal from NVIDIA, I was overall getting kind of bullish. So I am paying attention to the fact that these things can be different, right? I can be a completely different sentiment than the actual market or what is happening in the charts, but I'm just going with, hey, what seems to be the most probable thing that could happen? And if I have a divergence down here on the 30-minute for NVIDIA, then that says that 2-hour can turn up. It doesn't mean it has to go like this. We're still going to pay attention to it in this move to see if it creates some kind of lower high. This could fade today and it could completely come back down, but right now those signals, if they do confirm up on this 30-minute, we would be confirming a little bit of divergence down there. So I'd pay attention to it. This is the reason we were looking at it. Hey, NVIDIA, you came outside of a weekly expected move, just like you did right here, just like we did down here, just like we did up here. And pretty much every single time we've seen this actually, even if it has not the best reversal signal using regular trading hours, if you extend it out, it's going to look a little bit better. But we'll notice that the divergence was not on the RSI at the same time, but we were paying attention to it because it's outside of a weekly expected move. We see a rip. The other thing is now you have the divergence, but it's not on the MACD, it's only on the RSI. And guess what? We're getting that to bounce back up 1.5% for now. We have to see if that's able to hold today, but we're paying attention to the right things. Now, the one that was screaming, hey, this could be overall not a good thing for stocks is Apple, or at least one that really seemed like it needs to back off. We are going up really, really fast. We're making some reversal signals, not confirmed yet. 2-hour, we'll notice, is trying to confirm, but on a green bar way up here. So am I going to take that confirmation seriously? No. I want to see that thing pull down, give me a red bar down here and probably even break through the 5. Then we can be in pullback mode, maybe down to something like 235, right? But for this, it's, when I was really thinking about this, I didn't have the most time last night, but when I was really thinking about this, I was going, okay, well, the market can remain irrational for longer than people can short this thing, right? You're going to lose your whole portfolio trying to short at all throughout this move, right? You're going to lose a lot of money. So what would be the irrational thing? Well, it would be that this market remains bullish and that NVIDIA is going to see some kind of bounce. Now, talking about the data, it doesn't mean that bounce has to hold. This is not the best data, but it is some okay data, right? Core inflation rate month over month coming in at 0.3, previous 0.3, expected to pretty much be 0.3. We notice that the core inflation rate year over year, 3.3, previous 3.3, expected 3.3, and expected 3.3 pretty much over there. Now we'll notice some discrepancies in the inflation rate month over month. That would be right here. We see 0.3, previous 0.2, kind of 0.3, so in line with expectation there, but still a tick up there. Inflation rate year over year, 2.7, a tick up from the previous, but it is what was overall expected at this point. So nothing too surprising in the data, and people might react to that very well. We're noticing that the 10-year is starting to drop from that, which is probably a good thing because it was about to curl up into positive territory. You're also noticing that the dollar is still climbing at this moment, but with that news started to fade the move with a little 2-hour divergence in here. It's very, very tight. So what does this mean? Well, we were paying attention to the fact, and if you remember us mentioning, this could be a nice little level to consolidate to actually break to the upside again. So we'll look for the 4-hour to maybe pull back for a moment here and then see if that's able to curl back up into positive territory, if that's even able to cross over, right? We could be in a trap as of this morning, so we're trading like water. That's the important thing. Right now, we're getting some confirmations of the moves that we were paying attention to. Thank you to my Patreon members if you were paying attention to this signal with me. I know that it has not confirmed yet, but it could confirm this morning, right? It could confirm this morning, so we'll pay attention to that. If you do add the extended hours, this signal actually looks really, really good, just so you're aware. It is still pretty controlled, by the way. You notice that it's relatively controlled, still can draw a flag around it, so we'd like to see that violated. We are just starting to go positive if you put up the extended trading hours. So this is what I want to pay attention to. Even on the extended, I can see if that 2 hour is able to cross up. I don't like to do that, though. I like to really see confirmation on my 30-minute during the day. Do we have a lot of room to the upside for NVIDIA? Yeah, you do, because you were down below a weekly expected move. We'll see if we're able to hold that as it's crossing up into positive territory. So something we're watching today are for maybe another uptrend to get up to the weekly expected move. But right now for the day, we have to pay attention to the fact that the Qs are opening up right where we could see resistance, right? Right where we could see resistance, 525.48. That is your daily expected move for the Qs. We are really, really close to there, and that's where we ran into problems yesterday. So that's going to be a big deal. Are we going to reach down to grab some buyers before heading higher? That will be something to pay attention to, but you will notice on this 30-minute chart, you're starting to get that upward move. You have room to go to the upside. So now you have the chance to make this, right, over here, and that's a big deal. So the 2 hour could end up seeing an uptrend here. It could be a short-lived uptrend as well, and then we'll see if something pops up for us as far as the reversals go. If they do not confirm back down, if they start to violate divergences, then this market is going higher. The market is going higher if that happens, all right? You're going to keep violating stuff. So the most likely thing is the market will head higher if you violate divergences. You have to usually see those in order to get these things to turn down. So a new all-time high for the SPY is pretty damn likely, especially when you look at this 2 hour really close to the center line, and then NVIDIA gives you a divergence. That's why I pay attention to multiple. I don't just pay attention to the SPY, right? I pay attention to multiple stocks to give me hints. So right now, we can see if that 2 hour turned up, what would it be? Oh, it would be a good move. What if that ends up failing later on, right? We need to pay attention to if that makes a divergence point here, if it even creates a lower high on the 30-minute for the day, because we're still below that daily expected move. But see how we're taking back the 5 with the gap up. It is an overall good sign. So now that if the 30-minute is going to remain curled up, we have to see that curl back down for this to be a real trap. Very good stuff. Another thing I wanted to bring to your attention this morning was volatility. Remember in last night's video, we were talking about volatility potentially being a double top at this point. And we noticed that if the MACD would load here, we got that divergence to confirm overnight here at about 6:40 a.m. for me. And that can curl down 2 hour charts. Now you'll notice on the RSI, you actually had triple divergence going down here. You had the single divergence here, so that leads to volatility starting to come down. That is why I sold my volatility play yesterday. Right, so volatility saw the pop with the 2 hour divergence, sold the volatility play just because I see a little 30-minute divergence forming, and I saw the opposite signal from NVIDIA saying NVIDIA would maybe catch a bounce here. Now you're noticing that 2 hour turn down. So this is where what we were talking about might come to fruition, and we could see some bullishness and end up down towards 12.12. We still want to notice that that 2 hour is positive and pay attention if any reversal signals do pop up, if any little 30-minute divergences pop up in these areas. the 30-minute, as you can see, is starting to go negative. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. SPY, great move up. Qs, great move up, about to run into resistance. So let's watch the Qs for a little bit here. And I'm going to say good morning to you guys. Good morning. Nothing burger on the data. That's kind of what it seems like, and it seems like people are going to shrug it off. Technically, those are higher numbers than you'd like to see, but people are easily going to shrug that off if you just take the mentality of, what were we expecting? Oh, we were expecting this? Okay, it's something that I expect. Okay, I'm going to be bullish here, right? Kind of think of it that way. Yeah, say good morning in the chat. CPI are as expected. Yeah, it came out as expected. Good afternoon from Europe. Where are you at in Europe? I like it. That's fun. I had plenty of European soccer teammates. I don't know what that is on my chart here. Alrighty. Great upside move. It's holding as of now. Something I kind of wanted to look at was, oh, Germany. Very, very cool. Not SMG. That's a kind of gun or something. SMH. Really wanted to pay attention to SMH because this was a solid dip down. If this 2 hour can turn up, these semiconductors actually might catch a bid here. So what I noticed from SMH at least is we kind of went past the point where we would make a right shoulder, and then we did that thing where you have to pay attention to, hey, is this a trap? Well, you might have had a 30-minute divergence to tell you this was going to happen, but now you want to see is, are we actually just making that shoulder right now? Sometimes when you get excited, you revert down to create that shoulder again, and then you see the next move up. So that's something I'm interested in. I'm going to see if that 2 hour is able to turn up throughout the day. Notice NVIDIA starting to fade the move already, so no confirmation on the move just yet. Once I get that confirmation, hey, might have to take some upside here. Yeah. So I'm bringing up Tesla. Tesla is really running out of steam. Am I going to bet against it? No, I'm going to look for possible upside plays once we receive some kind of daily pullback, right? Now, I notice that this is starting to get really high up on the RSI, about to violate it on the RSI. You've already done so on the MACD, so most likely if Tesla does drop for a daily pullback, it would be a test of the 20 or something in this bundle in here. We can see that pull down and see that cross back up. I'm looking for the easy swing trade, to be honest. The market can do what the market wants to do until that happens. And we got some hints from NVIDIA. We'll see if that produces some upside. But it really seems like the stocks that are at all-time highs, the Mag 7 type stocks, are just continuing to go up. So you're seeing a big pile into those type of stocks, really just like, Meta, you're seeing it pile into there, 30-minute divergences popping up everywhere, but hey, are we going to get rid of those? You see even like Google starting to really catch a bid now, starting to head to the upside. You have Amazon going to all-time highs. Remember this one, the 30-minute curl up is what I'm looking for. I was looking for the retest of the 30-minute curl up. Now we go set the trap, right? Now I want to see where that trap is set, and if it can even make a divergence. If it doesn't make one, it just keeps going, then we're most likely going to see another push higher. There are no reversal signals in this as of right now. You're just noticing that this is making an upward move, so watch out for traps now is what I would say. And then I wanted to go look at DJT actually showing interesting things in the option chain. At some point, there we go. See what Bitcoin was up to. Bitcoin, little things down here, but mainly just want to see that 2 hour was able to curl up. If we can start curling up on bigger charts, that would be a good thing. So 4 hours starting to go into that uptrend, came down for a dip lower. Now you actually might make the sequence. We'll actually see if the next like 1, 2, 3 type of move does happen. Very interesting from Bitcoin here. The daily never confirmed up either. And we keep going down to that 20 for these tests. So that's great. That's great. You're seeing the test of the 20. You want to see if that daily can pop up. Does it mean that there's some kind of massive move? Could be. Could be. You've built some liquidity in here for quite some time. Could just keep moving sideways overall, right? You've overall been moving sideways since November 21st. So a few weeks here. Like, yeah, we've seen some moves up, but those just, like, you're at the same point you were a few weeks ago. NVIDIA still giving it up. Let's look at the Qs on the 30-minute here. See if they're going to turn off of the daily expected move. We are at it, man. Banks curl up. If you remember KRE yesterday, it's a very bad signal. You don't want to see these signals, right? This is a bad one. But look at the daily overall. Look at the daily overall. Is it really saying like this has divergence at the same time? Or is it just saying, hey, it's on the RSI, so watch if the daily's able to turn up? Well, maybe I look into a 2 hour and see, okay, is that showing me anything? Can I really get anything out of this? Well, I see the 2 hour might want to turn up here, and I see potential for double bottom. So if this 2 hour is going to see a nice upward move, then I might need a strong base on the 30-minute. What do you have on the 30-minute? You have divergence now, right here, right here. You see it very plainly, and if you want to pull it all the way across, technically you have it across the way. I would more so just count this one and say, hey, if that can cross up above the 5, get above these levels, cross up, it's very close to positive territory, which means you're probably about to see some kind of 2 hour up move. Want to pay attention if that is some kind of right shoulder. But if nothing pops up in this and this doesn't curl down and this just keeps going, then you want to see if those dailies turn up. This does say it could catch a bit, but these are bad signals. But if you can really base out at some point and turn back up and really have a mindset of, hey, the daily doesn't really have the signals at the same time, so we're probably not going to experience anything that bad. Even when the signals were really, really bad, this thing still crossed up and broke through, right? So we want to pay attention to that, and the 2 hour probably told you right here, hey, I'm crossing up. Let's see. It was at the end of the day, so a rough bar there, but that was one that said, hey, I'm curling up above that center line. If I'm being risk managed, I'm not thinking that that's, I'm seeing this as consolidation. I'm seeing this as a curl up as of that. Even though it is on the last bar of the day, I would say I don't want to fall asleep and wake up to that, and that's exactly what happened. So more so I want to show 2 hour divergence here. It was able to curl down the daily, and now you're seeing 30-minute divergence that says you could experience some kind of bounce. Does it mean the selling's over? Well, I don't have 2 hour signals in here. The way I would more so know that this is better is if I see 2 hour, right? If I see the 2 hour, see this pop, drop again, get back into the zone, and then really fake people out, right? Give this kind of look. Then we can go into that uptrend for a little bit more time. No real daily divergence there. IWM, we're looking at this for the 2 hour cross up, right? Kind of looks a lot like KRE, weirdly enough. That's kind of interesting, actually, because KRE did have this. Then it saw a big drop, not as big as IWM, and then it made another point, saw another drop. So 30-minute divergence here, 2 hour turns down. No 30-minute divergence here, 2 hour turns down. And now you're just looking, hey, can that 2 hour confirm back up? And maybe we see something a little crazy. Interesting. Let's go look over at the Qs, make sure we're paying attention to how it is reacting around the daily expected move. You are at the daily expected move very early on in the day. So technically that would mean consolidation or fading this move for now for some kind of pullback or maybe even complete reversal. The more likely thing is to end up lower than this by the end of the day. But with some news, we can see violation of these lines. So we'll see. You want to see TLT go one more time? Let's look at TLT because TLT, very interesting look here. You had a bunch of 30-minute. We had a bunch of, I think we even had a 2 hour little one right here. Okay, so rejection divergence for the most part. If you put that on an hourly, it'll look smoother. But this just says be aware that the daily can turn down. And what's happening here? Well, the daily is starting to rotate down. So we're noticing that as we come up towards resistance, not really getting all the way there, we're starting to see weakness that could turn down the daily. So what we want to see for this to get positive again, because I like them to be at the same time, I don't like rejection divergence. I think one more push higher would make sense. You get to something like 95, then you actually see that thing fall down. But I gotta see this confirmation before that happens, because right now the 2-hour turn down more so means I should be paying attention to the daily turning down, the daily pulling back, right? The daily scale, and it's really close to the center line. So that's important to understand. That's close to the center line. So that could be a pretty good little flush. So if I don't see that 2-hour move higher, this thing can keep going down. You're noticing these moving averages starting to turn the first few. So if you want this to get past, say 90, or you want this to try to maybe get to 95, you got to see that 2-hour curl up. You do not have 30-minute signals that suggest that can happen. Maybe you get them eventually, right? Maybe this leaks out for a bunch of time. We never curl up that 2-hour. We jet down for a second, and then you see that, and you go, okay, that 2-hour is going to curl up. Right, as long as that happens before the daily, it's a pretty decent look. I know a lot of people might even talk about this, right? So I'd be aware of that as well. Some kind of head and shoulders. All right, Q's starting to push through. NVIDIA back to catching a bid. Maybe I saw some decent signals. SWK, and then we'll go look at GME. All right, let's look at SWK for Maurice real quick. Maurice shows up every day, so we gotta pay attention to it. 30-minute signals look good on the RSI. I'm just waiting for that MACD. All right, there it is. That's a pretty damn good signal. Just gonna be honest, that's a pretty damn good signal. You might even have a 5-minute lower high, or higher low. So what we want to pay attention to is this hasn't confirmed yet. Very important to note that that hasn't confirmed yet. You are kind of confirming on the RSI. You're trying to confirm in the price action. I know it's red, but that is a positive bar. But just be aware that that 5-day is there. That's why I have it on the chart, right? If I would see this green move like this, then I would go, okay, the 2-hour is going to start moving in the upward direction, right? Really reject off of this. And the good part is you actually pointed out one that has 2-hour triple divergence down here on the RSI, on the MACD at the same time. So I actually really like this look so far. So far, I really like this look, and you even got another dip down to really create a strong base right here. So I kind of like it. I want to see if this daily shows me anything because it's a little spread out. Okay, maybe a rejection divergence on the daily. So this actually says daily reversal. Daily can go positive here. So if you can really get above that 200, this could really start to move, maybe even see an uptrend for quite some time. So we'll see if that's able to take place. But first you need that 30-minute to confirm, then you need the 2-hour to really start to go positive, to feel very confident. It means, hey, if I see this 30-minute and I know how to manage risk, I know how to manage trades, I know that this might be a big move. I probably don't have to put a ton of money behind it. I have plenty of reasons for the trade. If that can curl above the 5, right? I want to set my standard for each trade and be like, if this can get a green bar above the 5-day moving average and cross up the MACD and see that RSI above the center line, that could be the first domino effect that can start curling up the 2-hour and getting that daily to reject, right? Reject the downside and really turn in the upward direction. So that's what I'd pay attention to for this one, and then manage risk in your trades. What did I say in the post yesterday with NVIDIA? Yes, NVIDIA is showing a signal. If I do take that play, I will be managing risk very, very closely in these moves. That's why NVIDIA came down for the dip. That's awesome. Has not curled up yet. So I want to pay attention to that. Yeah, I can convince myself, and it's fine, I think, if you do it. As long as you know how to manage risk, you can do a lot of stuff, right? We can see that down here, that curled up a long time ago. So maybe I want to extend that out and just say, okay, an hourly. If this is still showing well on the hourly chart, it's showing really well here, and still a little flat, but a little below it on the MACD, that crossed up. These things can start to convince me, okay, this is going to head in the upward direction. I don't use extended hours. I'm just stating how this move could confirm. The real confirmation for me is regular trading hours. Does the 30-minute curl up here? That's going to be my confirmation of the move. All right, let's go look at some other stuff. Let's look at AMC. First of all, holding 437. I think that's pretty important that you're holding 437. You really just need the 30-minute to go positive, the 30-minute to be positive, and the daily to be positive. Right now, you have the 2-hour really negative and turned down. You have the 30-minute really negative, turned up, but in negative territory. That's a problem. You need that up here. And then the last thing is the daily is turned down. So is this thing dead by any means? No. If we start to lose 437, then I'll be a little bit more worried of testing the low, because that means we might be going negative. So I'm paying attention to that. But it would have to lose that for a decent amount of time, like a full day, or maybe even two for this. But the way to really think about these things are, do the signals look good? Well, right here, you had 30-minute, 2-hour, and daily go positive right down here, and boom, to the upside. Right here, you have everything kind of turning down. And that's why you're seeing downside, right? We saw the 30-minute divergences here. We had the perfect level to tell when the selling was going to come in, 550. That has changed to 529. So even if these things curl up, you really got to see it get past and hold above 529. For GME, great move off the earnings. This thing was wild. Like if you put this, this thing is just kind of nuts when it comes to extended, because you had a bar, I think like what, from this, you went, what, up 5.5, down 4.49, up, where's the wick? Where's the damn wick? There it is, 15%, back down to 0.5, 0.3. And now you're up 7%. So a lot is happening with this earnings, a lot of rip around kind of moves. It seems like a beat to me, right? It seems like a beat to me, but you got to see the 30-minute is turning positive. That's a good sign. Now you need the 2-hour to follow. You need the daily to curl up. And look at that 2-hour. It is really close to positive territory. Something can happen with this very soon. We'll see. Alrighty. So it just means are a lot of things going to squeeze right now is kind of what I want to see. Now, if that 2-hour, the 30-minute, and the daily are all crossed up, well, you still got to get through 34.90. 34.90. NVIDIA filled the gap. Yeah, I kind of did a gap fill go, right? Kind of like a gap fill and go. Seemed like it was, oh, I'm going to fade the entire move. Then it almost fills it. I think it filled it. Did it fill it? I wouldn't say that's fully filled. It's kind of filled on a wick basis, but not the actual closing basis. But you're noticing that curl up. There you go. This is saying, okay, positivity. If that posts in 9 minutes, I can be pretty confident saying, okay, this is going to go that way. Now, what's something I want to realize and something that convinces me to manage risk? Well, the fact that we're below the 5-day. If we take that back and cross up a 2-hour, I'm feeling better. But am I feeling really, really good about this when I do take this play in 8 minutes? Am I going to feel great about this if it's below the 5? No, I'm going to be very, very managed, and I'll probably have it up on my other charts. Volatility is still turning down, confirming down on the 2-hour in an hour and 20 minutes. You're seeing that curl down. Let's go to, I need to go over here real quick. Yeah, you need like 4 hours of positivity for NVIDIA to be very bullish. But this is why Patreon's a great thing, right? We know the levels to pay attention to. You'll see it during market hours. We even posted about this last night, or actually during market hours yesterday, I posted this. I thought it was important to pay attention to. I told you guys I was going to be paying attention to any bullish signal that I do see. Now, I do notice some people asking about Palantir. Palantir dipping. This is different. This is starting to look a little different. The last time you did this, you had some moves below. You want to see if that can get back above the 5. But this is really different because when you made this wick, right, you were crossing down. You were able to hold really, really well. Look how negative you're going now. This is a little bit different for Palantir. You're confirming the 2-hour divergence, very wonky divergence, but you're confirming it. Maybe we want to look for a better confirmation. If it shows up on a 4-hour, you're confirming it. So this would really start to say, okay, Palantir has a high likelihood to go test the 20 or see some kind of daily pullback. The first area I really want to pay attention to, 5906. I like 5906 a lot for Palantir. wanted to look at Palantir real quick. Now, one thing to note, now that I see it on my other charts, because I do have my extra information on Patreon, I can see that we are below a weekly expected move with that wick. So where you are wicking up from is right where the daily expected move comes into play. Or sorry, the weekly expected move comes into play. So this is why Patreon can really help. It can get you, it can kind of keep you away from making a decision too early on in the week, right? This is Wednesday and we're at that level. If this was Friday and we were breaking that level, not wicking up, you could say, oh, something crazy can really happen. But since you have a lot of time, you can make any kind of reversal here. So what I'd really look for is, what is the best swing trade looking signal? Maybe the hourly. Right? I think the hourly would probably look the best. Does the hourly show divergence? Yes, on the RSI, very flat, not on the MACD. So what is likely to happen here for Palantir as we're dipping to low levels? When you do dip below those type of levels, those weekly expected moves, people usually tend to psychologically get very, very bearish. Right? And we just want to see, does that curl up on an hourly? Because if it does, you're taking back all these moving averages. You're probably going to cross through this level, go make a new high, at least above this level here. I'd say a test of 76.85, maybe make a new high. Then we would see that kind of look. And if that pops up, we want to be aware if it's at the same time on the MACD and RSI. So do I think this run is overall over for Palantir? I think the signals suggest it could be, and you might be experiencing that daily pullback. But based on this, it really looks like we might see at least one more 30-minute bounce or an hourly swing trade, and maybe to set a trap. So that's what I'd be paying attention to for Palantir. But the real opportunity, I think for Palantir, I keep saying Patreon, Palantir, it's kind of not showing up that well on the MACD. If I really blow this up and I hold my mouse here, I go, okay, that's obviously above it. So that's not divergence, right? And then I go, okay, the RSI is here. What's happening on the daily? We're curling down. If that posts today, then the most likely thing is, even with a little bounce like this, you're gonna end up probably going to that 20, maybe even seeing this go a little bit deeper. If that goes a little bit deeper, well, you might see this get to the center line, everyone gets bearish on it, and then it curls up into positive territory, and you're going, okay, the next move is most likely to test the high, go make a new one, but I'll be aware of a lower high in case this is some kind of consolidation to head down, right? We're always thinking of our risk. The risk is, how can I get screwed? So let me form that in my brain. And it helps to draw it out. Like, I encourage doing this type of stuff, right? Draw out your ideas, come into the chat, ask the chat about it. See if someone else can agree with you. You can ask me about it if I see your comment, or you know, put up a donation or something. That way I can really see it. If I can't get to it and the chat's moving fast, most of the time I can get to the chat, guys. I really try to be as active as possible with it. That's one of my things. But if you really need to get my attention and you have an idea that you really want to hear about, okay, let me know and I'll go check on it for you. Because right now, if you came to me with this idea of, hey, I think this reacts down to the 20 or maybe down to 59.35, and then we see that thing curl back up into positive territory, that would be something that would make sense to me. And I could say that's definitely possible. Like, it seems like actually a more likely thing than this thing to crash down. It has the reversal signal. We've seen things crash down. I want to treat this as very serious, but if I see a 2-hour divergence anywhere in this move, then I know, okay, the most likely thing, if that confirms, is to head in the upward direction for the daily chart. Where is the daily chart position? Oh, it's right by the center line. Okay, this can maybe take out the previous high, right? I can formulate a lot from just seeing a 2-hour divergence. I can formulate a lot from seeing a little 30-minute divergence, right? If that 30 minutes able to cross for NVIDIA, I can formulate a lot of what could happen going forward. This is a positive bar that could confirm in about 2 minutes. Oxy, yeah, we can look at Oxy in a moment. I'd like a cookie. Did they play? Yeah, played out, Tom? I don't know if I remember your prediction, but that's awesome. Happy for you. Google saw that surge. That was really nice. I think SPY will consolidate 606, seems indecisive. Don't want to take a play in either direction right now. One thing about the SPY, if you remember us talking about this, what was the call level I'm glad that you brought that up. I'm glad that you brought that up. Right, Chris? I'm glad you brought it up because what was 606? 606 had a bunch of calls, right? 606 was the call wall, and you're above it now, which is actually kind of bullish. So we'll see if that fades below it, but 606 is something key to hold at this point. Let's see if it's still important. No, that's not the right ticker. So for today, 600 and 608 for today. I gotta check the end of the week though. Yeah, 606 for the end of the week. 606 is our first call wall. Next one's 6100 for the SPX, 610 for the SPY. So what does that mean? Well, towards 610, we might want to be paying attention to a 2-hour chart. Towards 610, we might want to be looking if this is happening, right? Anywhere towards 610. But just note, this is still a bullish trend, and we're trying to confirm the next move higher as of right now. So I think a good thing to do is watch NVIDIA. If this starts to confirm and then it confirms on a 2-hour, what's probably going to happen for the SPY and the Qs? You're probably going to start to confirm 2 hours, right? It's a big stock. And as long as Apple can hold up, I would say that that remains good, right? As long as Apple can keep curling up into positive territory, hold above the 5, I think this is pretty bullish at this moment. It could be a big trap going into some kind of corrective move, but it could just be another sequence higher. Right? When I'm talking about big traps here, am I trying to take big plays on volatility with these type of moves? No, I'm overall looking for the pullback. I might decide to play it like I was, but then I see a signal from volatility that tells me, ooh, okay, this could be some kind of double top, and that's not a good thing. And I'm seeing the opposite signal from NVIDIA at the same time. So maybe I need to think about getting out of that volatility position for now, as we assumed this bullish market would continue, even if we're not going to get that corrective move down to the 20 for the SPY. I wanted to see the daily here was able to cross, which is very, very interesting. What if this just makes the quickest divergence ever? What if we just go boop, boop, and then it just pew? That'd be crazy. That would be the most wild look. I think the more likely thing is we go like that. Right, you see where that 20 is? Because this would be really, really nice. And this is where thinking into the future, and if you're able to have a good imagination, it can help you a little bit. But we'll notice this level is obviously important. We've seen a lot of bars struggle to get through or close above that. So what we want to see is if that's able to reject and come down and test that 20, maybe it goes up to here first, then sees that struggle again, then you end up seeing this kind of look. Boom, boom, boom. That would be very, very cool. We'll see if that actually happens, because you could just curl up a 2-hour and keep going. That would more lean to the 2 hours going to reject for a moment, but let's check the levels for the Qs. We have our levels, which is great, but it looks like 525, which is pretty much our level, and I think we just took that for the Qs. Let me go look. 525, we've taken that, so you've busted through the call wall for the day, and you do 525? Yeah, 525, and you do not have a ton of, like, this thing could run. It seemed like the put to call ratio is 2.18, so you could squeeze. You can keep squeezing. We could be in a whole new sequence of 30 minutes now if this can hold. Right, this is either some kind of trap on the 30-minute, watch if that rotates down for the Qs, or this is the start of something new, right? We have to start to see these things again to say, okay, there's going to be another pullback. And then if we see that, where are you going to be? Well, if we see this start to play out, right, and your MACD starts to look like this, that's going to be above the monthly, and that's when we really want to pay attention for December. Do not see the daily signals yet for the Qs either. So even if all of that does take place, right, well, we want to pay attention to the fact that the daily is not showing divergence, so that could just lead to the corrective move that then turns back up in 2025. Right, we want to be very open to positivity. I have reasons that this could fall on the weekly scale. I don't necessarily see those reasons on the daily scale. Great move from the Qs. Great move from the SPY. Now, when you want to pay attention to weakness in the Qs is any time that the SPY is able to touch that bad boy right there. See Palantir starting to break through that level. Mara with a little jump. GME with a big jump. Pretty good consolidation actually for GME before earnings. You really look at GME, let me delete this real quick. Not bad. Not bad. You're looking at this and you're probably seeing head and shoulders, right? But if you really take this into consideration as well, you can probably make up something here to say, okay, is this going to be a move higher? Right? And when you look at the daily, you kind of look at that and you go, okay, that looks like a triangle to me. It's not perfect. So 2 hour can confirm up. Hey, you have a chance to break through and see something like 34.90. We'll see. Then you got to see what happens up there. AMC, maybe that follows GME. Nothing really telling me this has to reverse around. Mara actually seeing a good move here. Watch if that 2 hour is able to curl up. 30-minute does not have divergence really though. You might say there's a flat one on the RSI, but that would be pretty pulled across, right? So I don't really want to do that. I don't want to see too many blips in there. I would like to see it in the near price action, right? Those are usually the ones that are the best. These ones can say something, but usually you want to see like, okay, the momentum's dying out here. Let's really prove the momentum's dying out here. And then we can see a nice upside move. So interesting for Mara, but Bitcoin catching a bid, so Mara going up does make sense. Bitcoin starting to do some good things. We'll see if this daily can curl up at some point. That is a very, very good move so far. Let's just keep our eye on this. This one's above the daily expected move. I think it might just... This would be crazy, just a surge. Then you see it way up here. And that would go into next week, actually. So that would be crazy. It kind of makes me worried for FOMC, though. Just genuine here. I wanted the pullback, the bigger 20, you know, going down to the 20 or even deeper. I wanted that before the FOMC, because then the FOMC can be seen as good news if they're like continuing to cut rates. And then people realize later on, like, oh, cutting of rates is bad. We're going into recession. But if we keep going higher like this, then it makes me actually worried for FOMC now. Because like this can leak out all the way to like next Tuesday now. All right, NVIDIA with the confirmation on a good bar, experiencing some downside now. So right away, I'm going, okay, if this starts to curl down on the 15-minute, that's not a good sign. Go look at my thing here. Now, why would I be using the 15-minute even though it's a shorter time frame and I don't really like to use 15 minutes? Well, because I have a 30-minute trade and I want to be aware of anything that says that 30-minute trade could be going wrong. And so the way that this 30-minute trade goes wrong is the 15-minute rolls down. That would potentially get rid of the divergence even seen on the 15-minute here very nicely, but it shows up on the 30. That's why I like the 30 confirmation better. And so what I want to see is if this does cross down, that can be bad. If we start to lose 135 again, that could be bad. So I want to manage my risk, maybe potentially have to take a small loss, but a small loss is better than losing the entire thing. That's why I'm paying attention to it. Why is this popping up? Okay. Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to do. Sorry, guys. I'm going to put you guys on hiatus for a second. Thing is, NVIDIA's not seeing the most positivity. A bunch of other stocks are. So very interesting. What was I doing? What was I doing? Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Let's see if they fought the crap out of GME. It seems like they're about to. and DJT. Some of these things about to just rip. I haven't gotten a confirmed signal yet. But my goodness, that is a great move from the Qs. Alrighty. Oh yeah, let's go chat. Let's see what you guys are talking about. VVIX still holding up at 1.5. Yeah, it means the volatility of volatility is still higher, right? So volatility can still move back and forth pretty well when VVIX is up, right? VVIX still up, but I want you to look at the signal. That's on a 15. Take it with a grain of salt, but it's probably not going to show up on the 30. You might see a rejection here. So what you're looking for from VVIX is, does the 2-hour turn at some point? That can even make you a little bit more bullish. Something I would pay attention to for VVIX is when this happens, right? We're noticing a pretty good levels here to pay attention to. Maybe we want to take this wick. We can take that wick and just say, hey, let's grab the lowest points possible. Well, what if we actually see this turn down and then turn right back up? Well, then you would make another point of divergence here. So that is something I will be paying very close attention to. Just for any kind of traps. Like I said, I'm not overly eager to take very bearish trades. All right, now the SPY is starting to run into the top of our 68% zone, right? The top of our 68% zone. So that means now, like right now, we need to watch the Qs because they can run into resistance here. The yellow lines are the monthly expected moves, so I need to like flash some of that stuff up at the beginning of the video and stuff. Purple is always going to be weekly. The yellow is going to be the monthly, and the red is always the daily. So these never change, right? The coloring never changes. I always try to use purple for the weekly. I always try to use yellow for the monthly, and for the daily, we will see red. Now, if you see white boxes, white lines, those are more so going to be zones of support or a potential level that could be important for support or resistance, right? So this zone right here was support. I think there's a good shot we end up there still at some point, but I think it's maybe when all of this is said and done, we see a flash move down and people get very bearish, but I do still believe the daily has that chance to whip back up one more time, maybe into 2025. We've really built up well here, but we're going up too far too fast, in my opinion. The heck? Where did I put my stuff? NVIDIA more upside. Well, upside is technically confirmed by the 30-minute. So what you're looking for is, hey, I'm taking the trade, right? I'm going, that is a positive bar. I can take the trade. Awesome. Now I can sit and go, okay, from here, what do I need to see to be more positive about the trade, feel good about the trade, feel confident, and what do I need to see to get out of the trade? Well, if I want to feel more confident, this 2-hour turns up, but a lot can happen in there. So it's going to be a little while before I'm really confident. So what should I be doing while I'm not the most confident? Well, I should really be managing my risk in the actual trade itself and paying attention to what the stock is doing. Right now, that would be the 15-minute. So I know it's a bunch of different time frames, but if you can get a hang of this, it will really help you out. It really freaking helps me out. I'm going to tell you right now. So if this 15-minute crosses, why would I want to be paying attention to that and not necessarily the 30? Well, if the 30 crosses, it's going to be down here by the time it crosses, right? But if the 15 crosses, hey, that's in negative territory, so I can really still pay attention to that. And if that slowly crosses up in here, I can be out a little bit earlier, which will help me. And then if the 15-minute just reaches down, right, we make an even stronger base and we turn back up, I can be right back in the play and be doing the same thing again, right? That's why I'm managing risk in the position size with these type of trades, because little speculative area, but you can see how that could lead to a 2-hour moving higher. And everyone and their mom is talking about this, and I think it's perfectly fine to keep talking about. This could fail and just be consolidation to drop through that level, right? We want to keep that in our minds. But if this 2 hour starts to confirm up, that might be up towards something like 140 at that point. Cross up that MACD, that could continue and go up to this point here. So while everyone's talking about this, we were talking about it when this formed. That's when we started to formulate this, and look how all of it's nice. That's why I'm glad we're mentioning it. I'm glad we were paying attention to it. We see the 30-minute divergence. That tells us, hey, high likelihood to pop. We see the opposite signal from volatility, the VIX, and we see that that says, hey, that could drop down. It kind of means to me, you know, even if the data was kind of bad today, would we have still seen a pop? Because according to momentum, we were going to pop today, right? So the next part is, what are we noticing to the upside that no one else was talking about? We see a slanted head and shoulders. And where do we make the divergence? Right where that equal flagging is at. Right here. Left head, potential for right shoulder. So now we know if that 2 hour goes up really, really fast or something like that, and the daily confirms up, we can see a big upward move from NVIDIA. Like a pretty solid move from NVIDIA. That's why we have monthly and weekly expected moves, especially going into next week if this daily is able to confirm up by the end of the week, which relatively, that would have to be very, very bullish. You'd have to break through like 140, probably 148 this week to really see that curl up. And Meta with another little break. This is what I'm talking about. It's like these stocks are the ones that are seeing a lot of buying into. It's literally like the Mag 7 and everything else lags behind. Microsoft, great move, curling up a daily chart, back down here, boom to the upside. We're able to break through. Now, what do we need to most likely head higher in this move if we get overbought? Well, we might need to retest some key levels in here. We probably should move this zone up a little bit. I like this zone, but I think our pullback, we want that a little bit easier. IWM is just a 2 hour. Can that confirm up, right? We see that the daily has divergence. That's not a good signal. Okay, what? This thing always pops up. Okay, there we go. That's not a good signal, but we know a lot can happen in the short time frames. So if this 2 hour is able to confirm up, what's the most likely thing to happen? Well, it's a little bit negative, so I'll be aware of a lower high. But what if this is all just, hey, this got too excited at this level and now we're making some kind of massive handle? Here's the thing. This is a very slow move down. It's very slow. This is just building liquidity this way, in my opinion. I think we're building liquidity throughout this whole drop. So if that 2 hour pops up, I think you are likely to go to that weekly expected move. That's what I think at this point. I think that's a lot of liquidity. But here's the thing. Hasn't confirmed yet. So that is very, very basic. This is like your classic girl, you know, putting on her yoga pants and your sweatshirt and going to get coffee at Starbucks in the morning. This is just super basic, which is if this builds a lot of liquidity and pulls back and it's very controlled, and then I see that curl up on the 2 hour by the center line, what's the most likely thing to happen? Well, it's still close enough to the center line that it can test this high, go make a new one. But with this, as it is slightly negative, just barely negative, I want to be aware that that can fail, right? Hell yeah, Mr. Pickles. Yeah, we like the move from the SPY. With the signal from NVIDIA and the signal from the volatility index, that would just be, okay, we like the move from the SPY. Oh yeah, pumpkin spice, that's what it is, Justin. Yeah, I saw some memes about Apple, which was kind of funny. It's like Microsoft and all these other ones talking about quantum computing and stuff like that, and Apple's like, we got a new camera. I just thought it was kind of funny. So yeah, 30-minute confirmed up. That's not even positive yet, so I wouldn't even be totally... You know, I'd feel very good about this just because it's very strong. It's above the 5, but we're running into a daily expected move and we're not positive yet. So I want to see that breakthrough like the Qs. But notice once the SPY runs into the daily, that's when we start to slow down a little bit. NVIDIA, you're very early on in the signal, so upside is very high probability right now. I'd like a 2 hour confirmation, but this is enough for me to attempt to take the trade and manage risk, right? So that's what I'm doing on my other screen. I'm just watching NVIDIA in case I have to manage risk. We have not taken back the 5, so I don't feel like very confident. We haven't curled up the 2 hour, so I don't feel very confident, but I know that this is my strategy, and therefore I'm going to take the play and ignore my lack of confidence in the move with the non-confirmation of the 2 hour, with the 30-minute, with the 15 starting to look like some red coming in. I'm going to be aware and set those hard standards for myself and be like, okay, if the 15-minute crosses, I'm managing my risk. I'm going to get out of the play. If that crosses back up, I'll be back in. And then I'll say, hey, if the 2 hour crosses up, I'm confident to hold this for maybe even a whole week, right? That's all I want to do. Give you guys my entire plan, right? That's why I have my little booklet. I can write out my little plan. Like I said, we need to make some trade like water booklets. So you guys can have a little planner that you kind of write it down and be like, this is my hard line in the sand for this trade. All right, that trade went wrong. Flip the page. Manage risk. Get back in. What's something making an interesting move over here? Let's see. Oh, what is oil doing? Oil's being sneaky. Oil's being sneaky here. You have oil confirming up with divergence all across this. Oil looks like it's about to go nuts. Wow, that is a strong move. If that holds for the entire day, you start to break above these levels. Yeah, you're looking like a pretty solid move coming. You got 3 points. Not the best 3 points here. Something like this. But you want to see if that can break out. Ooh, that's saying weeklies can start to do some positivity here. Weekly can start to cross up. And look at these weekly moves. When they're at a low and they make those divergences, look at these weekly moves. Look at these weekly moves. Look at these weekly moves. That could be coming. The daily is confirming up here. So what do we maybe want to look at? Well, let's look at USO, but not UISO. USO. Let's look at that real quick. Hey, and thank you so much, Kevin, for the $2. Is it too late to add my Google position? Let me go look at Google in a moment, but you can see here from USO. Oh, we have the same thing drawn for USO. Very interesting. A little bit different though. I would say the better points to take are here at this point, because it does give you 3 on US oil. So what we want to see is that's confirming divergence. So USO is something you can trade, right? I could buy this right now, see it go hit maybe 80.52, maybe see it hit the 200, and then see if I want to get some kind of pullback and then go towards 80.52. So this just means USO looks like the weekly could curl up, and could that go positive? Yeah, and look at these weekly curl ups when you do make those signals. Bam! Look at those weekly curl ups and you make signals. Bam! When you don't make them, right, you don't make very good ones, a little bit of push. Don't make them, a little bit of a push. Don't really make them, right? You might see little 2 hours and things like that, little push there, but you're seeing something like this, right? We're seeing it really build up. Bam. That'd be pretty solid. I like the look. It just might take some time to play out. Oil can move back and forth a lot. It just kind of slowly does its trend in the upside, and we'll get pullbacks and things like that. So Google, let's go look at that real quick. As far as the position for Google, just one thing you gotta know. Does it look like a good opportunity right now, or did I miss the opportunity? Because I got the swing trade signal. I got the test of the 200 and I curled up right here. The early time to take the signal, hey, we talk about this in the swing trading course down in the description, all right? When that crosses above that center line, good stuff. All right, we have the price action with us. This could be a risky one right here, but it says, all right, you have some indication there. Right here is actually where you crossed up. Boom, right before the gap up. Right before this gap, you had the confirmation of a swing trade. And guess what? You're getting rid of it a little bit on the daily. If this continues to go in the upward direction, you don't even have to worry about divergence. One thing I would note here is left head, we skipped a right shoulder, so don't be surprised if we reach down as we're getting overbought to make the next move higher. You might see an opportunity later. So are you late for the swing trade? Yes. Are you late for a option play? I would say yes. You're starting to see little 30-minute on the RSI. Now, does that mean it has to be some kind of massive roll down, dip all the way back down to something like 175.30? No, we could just see that pull back down to the 5, right? Then curl back up again. I'm not seeing the signals at the same time, so I'm pretty confident that this would continue the uptrend after retesting a key level, which happens to be where that 5 is lining up to. I hope that was helpful, Kevin. More so just paying attention to, is this a good opportunity right now? On the 30-minute, not so much. On the 2-hour, you can see not so much. On the daily, not so much anymore. Even though it can continue, I want to treat it like, hey, it's running into resistance. Maybe this reloads one time, or it can go back up. Yeah, if you're paying attention to volatility, if you're paying attention to NVIDIA yesterday, that dip looked pretty good. NVIDIA falling down. Ah, burn everything. It's all gonna go down. Oh no. No, we're just chilling with it. Seeing that turn down. Like I said, when you have a plan, it's like, okay, cool. I know what I'm doing if this turns down. I know what time frame, if it turns down, that I'm gonna be out. Right? I'm in control. So am I even worried about losing money? No, I'm expecting to have to lose money if I'm going to manage my risk in this play. And I know that I can get out of this play if this thing starts to roll down. And then I can take a loss, but I'm in control. That's the biggest thing. I'm in complete control of this trade right now. Right? Complete control. I can't control the price. I'm not trying to control the price of the stock. That's impossible. I can only control what I can do. I can't dictate whether this goes up or down, but I can dictate if I'm putting money behind something or not. Right now, what you're doing is you're going down to a weekly expected move right now. You know where that weekly expected move is? It's pretty much right where that little line is, that 9 on the 30-minute. That's pretty much where it is. And I'm reacting really, really close to it right now. That's where I should see support, actually, is pretty much right now. So I'm going to sit, I'm going to chill, I'm going to watch it, and if it curls down, I have my plan. I manage risk. I don't lose a bunch of money. If it keeps going up and I get to be more confident with it, I can start to manage risk on bigger time frames than a 15-minute, and that's great. Right? Volatility is reacting down to the 5-day moving average. Big breakdown from that 2-hour. Actually, just about to try to confirm, but it's getting a little wick here. Kind of an indecisive 2-hour bar here. With the data really flush, then the next 2-hour bar to confirm the downward move is looking a little bit more undecided. And the someone who brought up VVIX. This is very, very good that you brought up VVIX because that thing's starting to turn up. That thing's starting to turn up. If you guys go look at VVIX real quick, that's VIX, VVIX. You see that did not give you that confirmation down. So these little 15-minute signals did not confirm yet. And there's that wick. So I still want to pay attention to it. I just want to be aware that that's breaking out. Now, what does this mean for my trade? Right? Am I reading into this, going to make a bunch of different moves, going to move really, really quickly, going to make me do a bunch of stuff? No, I'm just like, okay, VVIX is popping up. Let me pay even closer attention to this. Let me pay even closer attention, right? Maybe I even go deeper and I go, hey, if that 5-minute goes negative, right? Just in case that happens before the 15-minute crosses down. But right now, we're starting to see the VVIX actually fade that. We'll see if that continues, right? Mainly just want to be like, okay, 15-minute curls down, makes me more confident in my bullish trade. 30-minute, you curled up, now you have 30-minute divergence, like at the same time. So this is the only thing, like, okay, we're holding up at the 5, it's indecisive, it's on a green bar. So this curl down is not the best curl down. It's flat. It's like dead flat. But it is a curl down. It is 2 hours worth in here. 41 minutes left. So you got a little bit more time there. Now we want to go look at the indices, guys. Let's go look at the indices and see how the SPY is now reacting. Now that it's at a daily expected move, you're starting to see the fight. This is where a fight can happen. Qs, now you're going to see a fight because the SPY is at its expected move. But the most likely thing that volatility is telling you is that it's probably going to end up down towards 1212. Especially if VVIX starts to roll, I'm pretty confident in that. That is the most likely scenario, is for the 2 hour to go down on volatility. The 2 hour is close to the center line, so the most likely thing is we're going to see some kind of rip down. Now, volatility can see pops. We can see pops in volatility. We could go down on the Qs, retest these levels. We could give this all up. That's why we manage risk. But if we can take back this 5 by the end of the day, we're going to get new daily expected moves, and they're going to shift up if we can hold up in this market. Once again, we're experiencing a time where the bullish move is a gap up, and then we just kind of sit for the morning. Yeah, volatility looks like it's making some slight upward move. No reversal signals yet for volatility. Dollar, just notice that is still holding above our 106.49. The daily scale has not curled up yet, but it's getting closer and closer and closer every single day. The dollar. Dollar bill, y'all. Yeah, I just wanted to check that MACD real quick. There we go. So the big gap made the play a small one, but it was a play to the daily expected move. Why is that not updating? I'm going to watch this for a little bit. Actually, let me go check on my trade again. Okay, awesome. You are still just a couple cents, like 30 cents away from the weekly expected move. Retesting in those areas. We'll see what happens. VVIX booming again. It's getting these spikes. Was not able to confirm down the 15. Just means volatility will be a little bit more reactive, it seems, like for this, maybe the rest of this week. And the 85% chance for an up day in the market was today, according to the VIX. Nice. Amazon. Some good room for Amazon to head higher. If it's going to go to a weekly, Amazon more towards 235 is where I'd be a little bit more inclined to say, okay, take my foot off the gas. TLT as of right now dropping through the weekly. Ooh, Tesla, you are hanging on by a thread, but you're hanging on, man. You're hanging on, I tell you. And we can see that Palantir has now done what we kind of figured, which is trying to get back above the weekly expected move with all these low little things in here. Sorry, 30-minute. So now we'll see if this is able to build up and do another ABC pattern to the upside. If it can take back these moving averages, that's a good sign. The ultimate signal here is the 2 hour or even an hourly chart, actually. I think the hourly chart would be a good one to follow here. You're kind of at one of these moments. You're at one of these moments. Now, this can take its time. It could not confirm. It could unconfirm. That's why we manage our trades. I know that nothing is 100% in the market, so I want to be confident with my signals, but to be aware that they can change. What's the volume on GME right now? $6.6 mil. And let me look at this real quick. Ah, shit. Next week. Really want to pay attention to 150. All right, let's see what you guys are chatting about. No, I'll switch to a 1 hour if it looks more clear. It's just with my back testing, the 2 hour proved to be relatively more significant for me in my trading style than the hourly chart. The hourly chart is just, the way to put it is the hourly chart is even more likely to make a triple divergence, a quadruple divergence more often. So 15-minute is the same reason. 30 minutes, yeah, they make triples, they make single, they make triples, but when you see a 30-minute and a 2 hour at the same time, just single divergences, they play out really, really well. Oh, I know, Sid. I think it's very, very good sign for the stock. I'm just saying. I don't understand the price action in the extended hours here. If we pull this up, I don't really understand these flash moves that, like, by the way, I think if you did this, you can really see what was going on, right? We can really see what the hell was going on here. And you're seeing sporadic moves, right? Boom, 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 boom. Like, it's just a lot. It's a freaking lot. So I think a lot was going on. And I think the earnings was really, really, actually, I would say pretty damn good. And we'll see what happens with it going forward. But we have to see things proven in the signals. Right now, it's trying to prove itself as a higher low. If that can go positive, that's your first inclination. This thing can start to look good. The 2 hour starts to go positive. Hey, that could happen at the same time. That'd be fantastic. Then all you need is the daily to be with you, and you're like, all right, this thing can go. But am I going to take it when the daily crosses, or am I going to take a chance with the 2 hour and then say, okay, that daily's likely to try to turn up. Let's see if this thing can make a move past 34.90 because it just had a fantastic earnings. Okay, cool. DJT, another one that I've been paying attention to. The daily hasn't crossed yet. Looking for that 2 hour to confirm the move up. This is just flagging, building liquidity. Now you're starting to see left, head, right shoulder pops up. I don't mind it. Right? Shorter time frames maybe can help me out. All right, there's little stuff in these, what you would consider maybe meme stuff, but they still move with momentum pretty damn well. Here, I'll even put it on a 15. No, I'll leave it on a 30 with you guys just to make sure we're watching 30 minutes, see if that can go positive. Yeah, so Palantir down too low pretty much for a Wednesday. If that was happening on Friday, I'd be a little bit more like, hey, bigger drop. Or potential for a bigger drop. As you get closer to Friday, you can see those crazy moves. Obviously, you have less time to get back into your weekly expected move. So Palantir, though, on a Wednesday, going down below, I'm going, I don't know about that one. Probably going to wick back up. Now, was there a signal for me to take a trade? Not necessarily. But Palantir, I think, is one that you would, NF on Palantir, I would be looking at an hourly chart. It looks like the most clear. Could be a bull trap. They're making it a little bit less expensive to go to the put side, 5-star. We'll find out. We're not seeing much. That would be And you do have a moment here. I mean, the dollar is going up, right? The put call ratio is low for the day. You have the SPY going up and reaching out to extreme levels. You have the potential that this is still just another divergence point for the Qs, right? We still have that potential. So if this confirms down on the 30-minute, that's not good. But if this can just not do that and keep going, you could be in the start of something new. That's all I'm getting at here. I know, Dave. I feel the what's it? Frustration. And that's why I was really trying to beat it into you guys for a few days. Just be like, be open to it going higher. Be open to it going higher. The reason I'm saying that is because I know we see the macro signals, and I know I talk about them on Saturdays just to remind us of the big picture, but a lot can happen in the shorter time frames before then. And that's why on Patreon, I felt it was very relevant for me to post the NVIDIA signal during market hours yesterday to give you guys that little inclination of, hey, we get data tomorrow, we have a positive signal here for a big stock. Really? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not, I'm not cool with murder pretty much no matter who it is. So, not my thing. IWM trying to make that base here, trying to get what you would, I guess, consider a higher low. Starting to violate some levels here, so hopefully that can catch a bid soon. Apple coming up to pretty much the highest point here, so if Apple's going to go up higher than this, we might be in a whole new sequence here, right? We're going to get rid of some of those signals. I have no idea, Chris. Maybe ask Dave. Also on GME, you said in the run, the 30-minute never turned down. Exactly. So it pretty much it's this, and this is GME. If I went back and looked, I did. I went back and looked. I looked at AMC very thoroughly, and I looked at GME very thoroughly. I noticed both of them when they see the run, the 30-minute curls up and never curls back down. Hey, that's all right, free indeed. It happens. Just note this, at least you're not losing, right? Your risk is 0 if you don't have that play. So it's fine. Just look for the next one. IWM could be one to look for on the 2-hour. So yeah, the 30-minute just curled up. It never curled back down until it was at like hundreds of dollars. So if this 30-minute remains curled up, the 2-hour curls up, and the daily curls up, and this thing just keeps going, hey, okay, awesome. But if the 30-minute turns down, it's likely to pull back. Now, when the big moment happens, if the 30-minute is down, right, and then you see some kind of big gap up, well, that could be the 30-minute curling up into positive territory. I don't know why this thing keeps drawing everywhere, my bad. But so you have to understand, this could be turned down like this, see some kind of major gap up, and then the 30-minute never turns back down, right? GME did that. AMC actually turned up, I believe, on the 30-minute before the move. Yeah, I think it was right before. It barely turned up at the end of the day, and then you saw that gap up. So just something to be aware of. But yeah, if this 30-minute does turn down, it's most likely bearish. Where is it? It's in negative territory. Yeah, the hot coin. I actually read into a lot of that. I actually looked into that pretty often over the last few days, and I was just like, wow, I cannot believe that people. Well, the thing with Hawk Tuah that was really sketchy was they specifically targeted people who were not crypto-based people, like people who had no idea what crypto was for the most part. Like they just didn't have any real education on meme coins, right? It's just a new set of people is what I'm hearing. It was a new set of people that genuinely were like, oh, I thought it was an investment. They said they were building some big thing and this and that. And I'm just like, what are they going to build that's going to be life-changing and going to cause a bunch of people to want to invest? What is Hawk Tuah Girl going to do as far as utility goes with a crypto? Now we see that we get crazy market cap. So if you're doing something like that, you are trying to get rich quick. Like, how have we not learned this type of stuff when it comes to the Jake Paul or whatever, the other one, Logan Paul, whoever, all those other coins? Every single one ends in scam. Even the FTX whole thing ends up being a scam. Like, if you want to talk crypto scams. Like, if you really want to do well in crypto, look for ones that have been around for a little bit longer time. Maybe even pay attention to one that's been around a medium term amount of time that people have dictated, hey, I'm willing to keep my money in this. Right? That can maybe have some, even if you knew nothing, you would know, hey, well, there's been people in this for 20 years. Okay, so maybe then I can use my technical analysis skills to find something. Then if Bitcoin, for whatever reason, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm just talking about an opportunity. Then if Bitcoin curls up on a monthly chart, because that's really the best way to simply invest using technicals, is see a curl up and go, ooh, that's on a red bar, that's on a red bar, there's my green bar. Okay, that was positive compared to the last bar. That's my go zone, 28,000. And then you just sit and you go, okay, as long as that month, like, right, if I'm treating it very, very simply, I'm like, okay, if that monthly never curls down even below the 20 or the 9, then I'm going to stay in it. And you were in it the whole time. So now it's like, is that opportunity there? No, I might have to be patient, see if I get a monthly pullback. Not saying that has to happen for Bitcoin, by the way, just so we're clear. See that pullback really well, then turn back up into positive territory, and you might see the same freaking signal like this. But on the monthly, this is the highest up Bitcoin has ever been. That can keep going, right? But am I going to FOMO, or am I going to be like, hey, I missed out on this, let me look for a different opportunity? We're noticing a lot of problems popping up in the market. My ultimate buy zone, if this is going to absolutely crash, is down here in this purple zone. I go anywhere in there, I don't care what the signals look like, I will buy like 10 Bitcoin. Anywhere below 14.5K, something around there, I'm buying 10 Bitcoin. Ooh, I like that. Okay, let's go look. Let's see what this looks like. Now, this is on the OTC, but monthly is turning down. So right away we go, okay, this is pulling back. Is this an opportunity to head to the upside? Let's see if there's daily divergence. Okay, you kind of have a daily higher low trying to form here. And if that can cross up, you could see positivity. It could be your chance to really break through that 200. But right now it's pointing down, so that's a little risky. Right now you do see some structure. That's a little bit risky, right? So that would tell me if I want to go long here, I'd really like to see this thing just turn up a little bit here, and then I'd take my chance. I like that though. That's a cool one. It does give you head and shoulders. Now we want to look also weekly scale. Usually if you're going to see a monthly turn up, you're going to see weekly divergence. So what could set up here? Well, we have a head and shoulders. We have a measured move about this, guys. I'm doing it rough. I don't like measured moves. They stop when they want to stop. Wait for signals. They will help you out more. What if that goes down to $14? Well, that means we could be retesting some key levels in here, and maybe we go down to $14, and then we actually see this start to take place. Maybe we hold up better, and this just turns down for a couple of weeks and turns up, and then we have our divergence, right? Because I'm going to show you guys exactly what happens in these type of stocks, right? I'll just show you on the SPY, right? I think I can show you on the SPY. Well, when did we find a low during this time where everyone was losing their freaking minds in 2022? When we made a weekly divergence here, and that said monthlies ago, right? If I keep it very simple, if I really don't want to lose money and I want to keep it very simple and just be like, hey, when do I want to buy stocks? When do I want to sell them? Well, I want to buy them when I see this. Or the monthly curl up, because that happened in here. But I want to buy if this signal pops up to me. That's a good strategy for this to head up over time and go into a positive trend. I don't even have to do anything here if I don't want to, because I'm like, hey, it's still a very positive trend. This is kind of just the first big leg up. What about the second one? Then the third, then the fourth. Now we're bubbling. And now you're seeing the opposite signal. The same signal at the low, even worse, actually, you'll see a lot more triple divergence at the upside because these markets are made to go up. You're going to see a very simple thing to the downside, a weekly divergence, which also had, I believe, a daily divergence right here. So right there. Probably could have been in. And that was something that really helped out my investments over time. And then once I started to see this kind of stuff, I go, let me look at this. Now I'm seeing divergence. So when do I start to take out my investments? Up in these type of levels. Now we're seeing another point. Okay, still holding the divergence on the RSI, so I'm aware of that, right? So am I doing big investments right now, or am I fully out of all my investments except for maybe TLT, and instead I'm just trading the shorter time frames back and forth? Well, I'm trading the shorter time frames back and forth, right? I'm not risking a load of my money. I'm waiting for the opportunity, and if I'm patient enough, I could find a great one. I'm tempted to buy Apple Lotto puts. I know, it seems so tempting. It's just so freaking, it's such a freaking bullish move. It's difficult to short those because here's the thing, Dave, and I get it. You want the juicy move for some kind of crash. You want to make a lot of money fast. But here's the thing. If a lot of people, you don't know this necessarily, you could go look at options data, but if a lot of people have the same thinking of you, they could be fueling what's happening with Apple. Right? This is a divergence. This is outside of a weekly expected move. But if everyone is thinking the same thing as you and they're trying to short it, that means that it could just fuel this thing to keep going like this, right? And you don't know when that really turns unless you're looking at that options data. So what we want to see is if this crosses, yeah, it's good potential for the pullback. Yeah, the 2 hour has divergence here, so we could see a bigger pullback. Yeah, the daily can pull back. But do we see major reversal signals that says like, hey, okay, if this pulls down to even the 5 or the 9 and just doodles around like this for a little bit, then curls up, doodles around like this for a bit, then curls up, hey, that's most likely going to be another bullish move higher. Apple is really saying, even if I pull back dramatically, I probably still have a move higher. NVIDIA could give that soon if it would cross up. If NVIDIA crosses up, it's saying, I'm going to go higher. Right? And we might see some kind of little move like this. Right? We might see some little move like this. We might see a bigger one. But now I'll pay attention to if divergence forms in these areas. So right now we're just paying attention to, hey, do we got to manage anything yet? In the 15-minute, we're still holding. And what are we doing? Well, we hit the breakdown area, right? We break down from here. Where do we retest? Breakdown area. We go up to that level. Maybe we create that little handle, that consolidation to head higher again. Because when I look at this on a 5-minute and stuff like that, I'm not seeing even reversal signals down for a 5-minute. So I'm paying attention if this is just going to curl down on the 15. But for now, the 30 minutes confirmed. I have no reason to manage the trade just yet. They could hit that monthly, exactly, Sid. You're thinking correctly there and saying, yeah, this looks bad, this looks bad, this looks bad. But really, if you think of it from a bullish perspective, wouldn't you be really happy with this? Now, you might say, I'm going to trim some profit here. We're getting kind of frothy. We could still confirm a divergence down again. This could be a massive trap. We do have a PCC that's low. We have a dollar that's high. So all of this could be a trap. Am I seeing any other signals that say this is a trap? Well, I know big traps happen when the SPY makes a divergence, the Qs make a lower high. SPY's actually making the lower high, right? So it's very important to watch the Qs. Do they even curl down the 30-minute chart, or are they just going to project higher and get rid of these divergences? Get rid of it on the RSI. If you get rid of it on the RSI, you immediately have to go, okay, this is most likely going to continue. The real way that we're going to see some kind of big dramatic drop is, one, if this 30-minute can confirm down like by the end of today maybe, or maybe early tomorrow morning. The other way is if we get something randomly bad and we start to curl down daily charts and weekly charts, mostly weekly charts. But you are making a small divergence point. It's just not on the MACD at the same time, so. Tesla at all-time high, shout it out. Look at that thing. Still going, man. Hard to bet against Tesla. That's why I'm more trying to point out bullish things lately, just because I know that this is squeezing, and a lot of people, I could sit here and keep saying divergence, and I will mention it, but I will always say that could be the pullback. The real opportunity might be the pullback, kind of like with Amazon. The real opportunity is the 30-minute pullback. Then that goes up. Now, if that crosses, that would be bad. That would mean the 2-hour pullback is coming. More so a pullback, right? Maybe we pull down to test some key levels like right here towards 214 over time. But maybe it holds up a little bit better and we create a head and shoulders, and then you see that 2-hour able to confirm up after it gets down by that center line and it confirms up. Ooh, right? Bullishness can continue for a long time with the signals we have right now. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, you're just holding right at that expected move. Nothing to be worried about just yet. If you start to see 15 minutes roll and things like that, because the 15-minute is still very close to the center line here, still pretty damn close, I want to be aware of it. But I also want to be aware that right now we could be consolidating on, say, a 5-minute chart that's really positive. See how it's really positive? We could sit here, and as long as this holds up pretty damn well, and we see that curl up, that's not necessarily a bad sign for the micro side of things. IWM, still want to pay attention to that one on the 2-hour. DIA, see, DIA, you might be like, hey, I missed out on an opportunity. Well, if DIA can confirm this 30-minute up, the most likely thing is the 2-hour is going to confirm up. Is that close to the center line? Can we see a good move? You can see a good one, especially if you take back the 5. We could react all the way up to these levels right here and start to consolidate and break through, right? But I do have a 2-hour bad signal, so I want to go look at the daily. What's the daily look like? Oh, we could pull back more than this. So I really want to make sure there's confirmations and be open to a lower high. Is it the beginning of another, you would say another blow off top moment? Because really you've experienced multiple blow off top moments at this point, right? Multiple. And you've gotten signals for those. It's not like we were blind to this. We got a signal here, we got a signal here, and now we're heading to the upside again, right? We got the signal here, that's still there, and then now you're getting your first inclination of pullback from the first one right here to actually head higher. So I would say if this is going to violate divergences, then yes, you're most likely going to see some kind of ABC pattern up again. If you're not going to do that and you see the Qs just fade this right now, fade this today, fade this tomorrow morning, then that would more so lean towards, oh, that's a trap. And you are seeing some trap behavior on the dollar. You're seeing that the PCC is low. So a good indication of this might just be, does NVIDIA hold? Is NVIDIA able to hold? Right? Or is this going to cross down? That can maybe give me a big hint. GME at 29.20. Very good. I think NVIDIA is very good to watch right now. Yeah, I don't think Wolf has a bad setup. I think it's just been consolidated for a bit of time. NVIDIA broke 136. Just looking at it on my other charts here, NVIDIA is starting to break below the weekly expected move at this moment. We're kind of testing it right now. So now's an important point for NVIDIA. Is it going to retest that weekly expected move and find that support? Or is it going to cross down on a 15-minute and continue the downtrend? That's kind of what we're looking at here from NVIDIA. Oh, stretch it out. Man, we've done a lot today. Like, we're really going over stuff, and I like it. There you go. You're starting flush below. I just want to keep you guys on the cues because this is the good trap signal. If that 30-minute confirms back down, ooh, you ain't turning up that 2-hour just yet. There's more work to be done. More work. But that would maybe get the daily to cross. I don't think you want that to happen just yet. It's just crazy. crazy you haven't seen the daily pullback yet. So I'm like nervous for this market almost at all times, but I'm gonna trade the trend. Just funny, the stocks that give you the stocks that are at all-time highs saw big moves, like 2% moves and stuff like that. The stock that gave you the reversal signal, NVDA, is seeing a lackluster move, so you got to be aware of it. And it is flushing now. Now NVIDIA is starting to scale up. Just below that weekly expected move. Alrighty, let's look at this thing. Do we gotta manage? Yeah, that's a flush and a half, so alrighty, unfortunate. Unfortunate. We'll see if that thing can come back up and take another try with it. Well, I had the sell order ready, and then we start to wick up for NVIDIA, so maybe I'll wait a little bit longer. GME now 10%. Very, very good, too. Good behavior on the 5 as well. Ooh, wait a second. Oh, SoFi, you don't have the best signals. You're going to need a 2-hour to confirm up to get me bullish on this. Very good from SoFi so far, but a little bit deeper than you'd want. Kind of good that you didn't cup and handle. That's good. Google booming. Google absolutely seeing something freaking nuts. All right, so every stock take notes. Say something about what? Quantum computers or something. And people will invest. All right, guys, let me, I'm going to try to stick on for another 15 minutes. I just got to use the restroom first. So let me use the restroom. Oh, and look at that. We wicked completely above the weekly expected move right there. Wow, for NVIDIA. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Let me just use the restroom real quick. I'm going to stay on for another 15. Be right back. All right, sorry about that. See, if you want, I can pull it over so you guys can see it. If you're not part of the Patreon, just having these levels is very, very useful. Right, we see the signal down here for that 30-minute signal. That's where it started to happen. We see that confirm. We see the retest of the weekly. We'll see if that can turn back up. Still watching if I have to manage the trade, but with that little wicking in here, it was really flushing for a second. Oh, that's the data. There you go. Just really unlocks those levels for you. That NVIDIA wick was bizarre. It flushed. Like, you're talking about a Musk endorsed Google's new chip. Dude, Google's gonna go insane. Google already is going insane. Yeah, the wick on this bar was like almost 0.5% on that bar for NVIDIA. And you saw it was like starting to cause me to react. And then right when I see it wick up, I go, oh, let me hold off on that order real quick. Now, the game's not done yet. The goal's not complete. Really want that 2 hour to confirm up. I'll be watching it probably most of the day on my side screen. You know what I mean? Hey, AMC, finally catching a bid, are we? Look at you, you special little guy. What a good boy. And dogs are like, what the fuck is going on? Look at that little guy. Little blip, but you do notice there's little 15 in here. I don't like 15 minutes, but that's the only thing I got for you here. The 30-minute confirming up, more rejection divergence is what I would say. But that tells us, hey, there is some kind of, I would say you'd rather see it on the MACD and RSI very cleanly at the same time. But I would say from 437, aren't you glad I found that support way, way back here? Oh, not back here. That wasn't it. It was here. 437 has proven to be important multiple times throughout the last 8 months. So very, very good. And all you want to do is, when you do make support levels, really think, are there reactions at that level? Does it turn into resistance at times? Okay, are there gaps in it? Where does the gap begin? All those kinds of things are just what I look into. And then over time, you can see if that level is good. And 437 has proven to be a decent level for AMC over and over and over again. See what happens with that bad boy. NVIDIA, still seeing what's happening here, not curled up on the 2 hour just yet. Let me look over here real quick, and then I'll get to the chat, guys. Sorry about it. Let me go back to the Qs. We're seeing another irrational move. I didn't have a yearly for Apple. I have the yearly for the Qs. That was more of a tester. Obviously, yearlies, it's going to be difficult to test. Obviously, it's going to be difficult to test because it's like one number a year. So what I want to do is do it with the Qs, see if we get good reaction. So with the Qs right now, you have weekly divergences above the annual expected move, and you're seeing that break above it. So it kind of leads me to believe, okay, these signals happen very less often, right? Because of where those yearlies will be, there will be a pretty big range. We are above it, making divergences on the weekly scale, not on the daily. But it does suggest 68% chance to get below that by the end of the year. Am I reading into that a ton? Am I going to bet a bunch of money with how stocks look right now that it's going to experience a, what is this, 20%? Oh, 20%, 10%. Sorry about that. I was not doing math right with 525. 10%, 8% drop from here. It can happen. 7%. Okay, there you go. It can happen. We can use that level as support. That could be the corrective move. We could experience a black swan, but I'm not seeing the signals for that just yet. Instead, I'm just seeing us remain bullish again. Which actually, where's top Bollinger? Ooh, top Bollinger's right at that monthly. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. Yeah, AMD, we can go take a look at that. We haven't looked at that today. AMD just falling off a cliff. Genuinely falling off a cliff. Whoever had the trade with AMD, I hope that you took into consideration what I was saying the other day. I can't remember who did it. I'm sorry, I can't remember right now. But just take into consideration the, okay, I need to set those limits for me. The trade is not going the same way that I want. I do have a weekly expected move. I think we were talking about this on this first bar down, and we're just like, okay, let me set those standards. If I do not see this 30-minute curl up today, then I'm getting rid of the play, right? You have to set those type of standards when you experience some kind of gap like that. That was a little bit out of nowhere, but you never confirm back up for the 30-minute or the 2-hour right here for that retest. So you got to be aware that confirmations are important. But hey, took a call here. Unfortunate with the gap down. Now you have to say, let me set my things to remain in control. Well, weirdly enough, David, actually, during larger crash moments, you saw oil see a big run up, and the stock market actually continued to go up. But you did have weeks where the oil was actually running up before it happened. So it's kind of normal. It kind of still says we could have more time for upside throughout the next couple of months, right, for January. Exactly. Yeah, Sid, and that might just be it. And the lack of news just dictates that people are going to get more and more out of this. Now, for all of this, guys, AMD is the one, and notice that AMD is the one not announcing that news, and AMD is the one that confirmed monthly divergence. So I'm not a fan of this stock by any means. I have not traded AMD in a long, long time. Come on, NVIDIA, I'm with you, Kalani. I'm with you. Hey, Arthur Lopez, thank you so much for joining today. Really appreciate you subscribing. Everyone, make sure to welcome King Arthur in the chat. Say, all hail King Arthur, the king of trading. Coins rocketing? Like coin? I don't know what coin check is, but coin. Ooh, coin, if you can confirm up. Okay, this drawing played out, retest failed. 30-minute divergence for the top. Okay, awesome. I see that very plainly, so I should be aware of everything here. That's probably fully played out. No reversal signal, so I want to see a good confirmation here for this to make a great move. And that would be a 2-hour turning up. Yeah, Jackson, there you go. The king of trading. Maybe Angel, it could be, but usually if you're going to see something crush earnings, I'll show you something, and then we'll go look at, Arthur, since you're new, we'll go look at Tesla for you in a second, okay? What I wanted to talk about was, if you're going to see a great earnings, a lot of stocks will actually give you a very, very good signal before. So what I can pay attention to if something's about to get great earnings, right? I want to talk about Apple, because Apple back here, if you guys remember on YouTube, we were stating this is a golden setup. We were like, this looks like a golden setup before earnings. And then that ended up being a great trade. It still was great before. I can take out a lot of my risk and then continue to play earnings, right? I could take it out right before we get it or right after, right? I could take it out the day before or the minute before we get it. I can take some out. That way I'm risk managed and then let the other one run, and that ended up being a good thing, right? But the key thing is you had great signals here. You had great signals here, right? Notice this, triple divergence, great signal, good earnings. Notice this, the divergence here on your MACD on the RSI at the same time, plus a 2-hour and I believe even a 30-minute divergence. We were talking about it and we said, hey, that really shows that Apple could be a great move. Now, I still did not play, I think I played before the earnings. Yeah, I played before the earnings, saw a good move to a sell zone, and then I got out of it completely, kicking myself for that, right? Kicking myself. But earnings has beat me up as a trader, and I don't like that. And I have enough money that I'm like, hey, let me manage my risk, right? I don't want to potentially lose 10 grand on one play, even though I could have made 40, 30 grand or something like that. You know what I mean? After King, then middle is Caesar. After Julius Caesar of Rome. That's kind of sick, Arthur. We're all at the round table. All right, let's see. For Arthur, I do want to go look at Tesla. But that's what I'd say. If I see a golden setup and I know how to manage risk, I just have to understand there's more risk in an earnings. So if there's more risk in an earnings, do I want to bet more money or do I want to bet less money? Right? What would be the, if there is the risk of something unexpected happening that can go against my trade, do I want to bet less money or more money? Right? Do I want to scale that position size down a little bit so I don't lose a bunch and then potential to still make good money? Or do I want to risk it all? Laws is like all in on black right now. So Tesla, you're screaming and screaming and screaming to the upside. Arthur, I'm going to do this very simply because I can go through these technicals. I can show you all the divergences that Tesla is doing here. And all that might do is convince people to short the thing. And that could just be fuel to the fire. I'm not saying you can't short it. You are someone who makes your own decisions. We're just on this channel to probably learn some better behavior. This is a very bullish move. The market is a very bullish move, and it looks like it needs a daily pullback. Well, does Tesla look like it needs a daily pullback? It does, right? So if I missed this little thing in here and I didn't play this massive cross up for a little bit more extension because it was kind of late, right? And it's very overbought, it's kind of risky. Well, then maybe I want to, one, notice that this hasn't curled down yet. One, I could be FOMOing. Two, if I try to short it, I could fuel that flame. I don't know if the short sellers are still in this. I know they were in the past. So this could be squeezing. Obviously, it's squeezing. It's going very parabolic. It's going like straight up. But the opportunity would be more if I experience a pullback of any kind. If I consolidate, if I experience a better pullback than even this right here. If I can really get that down by the center line and see that swing up, keep it simple, right? Keep it simple. I always tell people, and you know, when I used to have my camera on, but it makes my stuff all wonky, I like to keep things very simple. I have a tattoo that is the energy equation. It is one of the most complex things that has one of the simplest equations. The simplest answer is usually the right one, is what my tattoo means to me. And so that's what I try to do with my trading. The simplest answer for the NVIDIA play was everyone sees the, right? If I'm being a contrarian on it, everyone sees the head and shoulders in one direction. I see this one as well, right? I saw the first one, right? We mentioned it when we saw the 30-minute divergence. I saw this one, right? And now I see this. Now I see, oh, this could be going the other way. If I create a good signal here, that could be a problem. I created a decent, not the best, but a decent one. The last one that was a decent one played out very well. This one's playing out again, potentially. And Stanley, thank you so much for joining. Shout out to my friend. His name was Stanley. So thank you for joining today, Stanley. Appreciate you, buddy. God, still gets me a little emotional, sorry. So what I want to see now is this still remaining good? And the truth is it is. We just went down to test the weekly expected move. Well, things can, MACDs can go down and stocks still go up. Like you want to see this, the weekly here. The weekly confirmed, right, last week. But we're going to talk about this confirmation because why was this confirmation not a very good one? Why was this confirmation not a very good one? Do you guys remember what I said about this? Why I'm not eager to be overly bearish on NVIDIA, even though it is a terrible signal? Well, because is it that terrible? We confirmed it on a green bar above the 9. I always get too greedy and then it drops. Yeah, so more, that just means the timing. That means the timing is probably not the best. What I would encourage you to do, Arthur, if you have serious problems, and I'm not trying to single you out, I'm just telling this as if, and we're going to use maybe NVIDIA to do it. If I'm really struggling with timing and I'm trying to do shorter time frames, I can always blow up those time frames a little bit bigger. I can always blow up those time frames a little bit bigger. And something very good early on, especially if you have low amounts of money, that would really hurt you. Say you have 20 grand and it would really hurt you to lose 6. Well, I want to see if I can increase the time frames because you're going to see less crazy things. Most of the time, you're going to be looking for bullish trades on the monthly scale. And you're just aware of when to get out. This is a signal to get out, but there's a few problems with it. We have a green bar that is closing above the 9-week moving average while crossing down. That could be a blip, meaning I want to pay attention to any reversal signals in here. That's why I keep pointing out that NVIDIA had a 30-minute divergence down here, just like over here. Now, this could not play out. This could all confirm on the weekly this week, and I could be bearish on the stock, right? That's perfectly fine. But I'm just saying, as far as decision making goes, it's a lot easier to do if you blow up the time frames and say, hey, I have 20 grand. Why don't I look at a stock that a lot of people are talking about in the media, right? A ton of people were talking about NVIDIA way down here. They were talking about it badly, but you see a monthly curl up into positive territory and you go, that's my investment. I did not invest in NVIDIA. It is not one that was specifically one that I was looking to invest in because I thought, hey, this thing might tap out at some point. But I was completely wrong. And that's perfectly fine. I didn't lose anything by not doing this. I gained some by investing in other things instead. But you notice that if I blow up the time frame, am I seeing absolutely crazy things for this stock? No. What am I seeing? A huge bullish move. So when would I be paying attention to NVIDIA next? And that means if I only start with 20 grand and I just save and save and save, maybe by the time this actually curls up, I can have 40. And I can go, okay, this is curling down, this is curling down, this is, oh wait, it caught a bottom. Oh wait, this monthly just confirmed up right here. That means we're probably going to see another positive move from the monthly scale, and this might be a good hold for 12 to 24 months. Now, I don't know if Arthur's saying these things because he's doing the shorter time frames or if he's struggling with those or if it's some other problem, but I just like this. For a lot of retail traders, I think this would help a lot to blow the time frames up, get a good understanding of how things move. And if you want to learn a little bit deeper to get a better price to make those investments better, well, you can wait to see if that monthly is down by the center line and start to look at weekly charts, right? Just like Apple. Remember that thing with Apple? I just showed you the weekly divergence. The weekly divergence for the SPY. Same thing, right? And we see a weekly scale. You see this really drop off. We really drop off for a long time. You see this get nice and wavy. And then you see a moment where maybe this drops dramatically, comes back up, drops dramatically, comes back up, drops dramatically, comes back up. And then around this area, you see a divergence or even a triple divergence. Most of the time, it's just a single one. And then you go, okay, that confirmed. That means the monthly has a good shot to cross up. So instead of getting into the monthly here, you did your due diligence. And we teach this in the course, both the courses. This is both of them in both of those trading styles at once. One of them will get you in a little later, right? A little later confirmation. The other one is a true understanding of how stocks really like to move according to momentum. You can get in a little bit earlier. So that's the opportunities I'm looking for. Right? Now, that could not drop down to here. That could all take place up here, right? Anytime I see that, I want to pay attention because that monthly might turn back up. Has the monthly even turned down yet? No. So I have to be very patient. And I know you were asking about Tesla. Look at Tesla on the weekly scale. Now, monthly scale, weirdly enough, remember this on Tesla? Do you guys remember this? Do you guys remember this? Remember when we were talking about Tesla? And I was very surprised by it. But I was very surprised and I said, this is weird. Tesla is saying I'm a good investment for the next 12 to 24 months. Since we've gotten that signal, we have gone way up. So little things like this might convince you, hey, everyone's talking shit on Tesla. It just confirmed up on a monthly chart. It went through a lot of trouble throughout that next month, but it wicked back up and we ended up going higher. So just based on monthly signals alone, no short time frames, just a monthly curl up. If I am confident and I hold this in 3 months, 56.86%. 56.86%. Isn't that freaking crazy? I think it's awesome. I think, and then you look at the weekly and you go, do I even see the bad signal that I saw over here? Do I see the bad signal I saw here? These are the bad signals. That's a bad one. This one right here, that's a bad one. We were talking about it, right? Do I see any of that now? No. So maybe the opportunity for Tesla, not even on the monthly, but maybe on the weekly is any time that this wants to pull back. That could pull back now, that could pull back 100 points from now. But any time that pulls down and curls up, maybe that is my opportunity. That's all I'm trying to get at. If you really spread things out, it can be relatively simple. Yeah, thanks for saying you're welcome, Stanley. You know we appreciate new people here. That's awesome. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I held 1,000 shares of Tesla. Tina, the GOAT. The GOAT. Sorry, Chris, let me see what you're talking about. Sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there for a bit. Went on a tangent, but I think that if it seems very helpful, guys, I want to talk about it. That's all. S&P will hit 6,400. I think 60 right now, 6,100. S&P 5 SPX to 6,100 is what I'm paying attention to for now. But I definitely think that if, okay, here's how we go to 64. I'm gonna think how we go to 64. It's, we see a big move here. We violate the divergences. We make one later on. We see that divergence pop up at the end of December. We start to experience a correction. Then once that correction's done, that's when we start to make our way towards 640, towards January, end of January, maybe mid-February, somewhere in that time frame. That would make a lot of sense. I'd really like, if we're going to go that high in 2025, like early on, then I want to see, you know, it can play out later, but I want to see if that can happen early on in 2025. How that would happen is you got to see a big move here, most likely, right, Frederick? But I don't mind that assessment whatsoever. Like we said, this is a point to pay attention. We don't see the reversal signals. The next point is probably going to be from now until the end of January. If we can make it through January with maybe a corrective move or something like that, then we can maybe see March of 2025 as a point to pay attention. And then after that would be October of 2025. It can remain very irrational for a very long time. J&J, Johnson & Johnson. Let's look at that. I haven't looked at that in a long time. We'll look at Netflix in a moment. Johnson & Johnson, first of all, I want to pull up a 2-hour. 2-hour is crossing. Not a good sign for J&J. Not a good sign. Not, and you had divergence here. You confirmed it. It's just really low on the MACD. You might be making another point here. Nice to see that we're trying to consolidate between our two levels. Anywhere in here we can find support. This is more when I would start to look daily scale, see if that daily can rotate back up. That would convince me this is actually going to get a bounce. I do not like the look of this. It is just falling, falling, falling. You want to start to look at this from the investment perspective, right? And look at these signals down here. Remember, weekly divergence. Bam, very simple. I can sit, I can wait for a divergence, I can manage a weekly divergence, I can see a double top on the daily scale right here, right? That can convince me to get out of my weekly play. I think that was right here. There you go. You got signals right here saying, hey, I'm potentially a triple top. Now, some people would say, you know, cup and handle, but that failed. So when that fails and that crosses back down, you go, that's failing. Bad. I don't want to be long if that's failing. So the main thing I would just say is anytime that daily can turn up soon. If that doesn't turn up soon, I'm pretty worried about the stock. It can catch a bounce at any time. It's heading into support. But I don't have signals to really say like, yeah, that's why I'm more talking investment perspective. Netflix is very interesting. Now remember Netflix. Netflix curled down on a daily chart. Now what's the problem with this curl down? And we keep seeing it in 2024. You're not actually crossing below the 9. That is fishy. That is happening a lot in 2024. This is the yeah, you're welcome, Arthur. And it's just to really open up your perspective in a new light. Right? I know the shorter time frames can be enticing, but just realizing if I open up the time frames, things might get a little bit easier. It doesn't mean I might not have to manage a trade, but it does open up the opportunity to be more clear. So for Netflix, though, this is a blip, right? We're not actually crossing below the 9, and we keep seeing this in 2024. You do not see this as much as we're seeing it in 2024. So what do we want to pay attention to? Well, this daily really doesn't want to cross. Maybe it needs a 2-hour divergence first. We have one. We hold up at the 5, right? We see the 30-minute react down with divergence, and we could go get rid of all of those now. This could be a trap. If that 30-minute crosses, we could start the domino effect, where the 2-hour is not able to confirm up, and that crosses down. So once again, though, on the daily scale, is the easier trade right now to try to guess when this is going to stop? because we keep making reversal signals on Netflix. I'm not saying you're making a bad decision. I think if that 30-minute rotates down, you got a good shot. If you know how to manage your risk, manage your trade, I think you're going to do just fine. I'm not worried about you guys at all, as long as you are continuing to manage risk and make that plan. Right when you take a trade, just write down, this is where the plan will go wrong. This is where I need to react and manage my trade. So for this, would the easier opportunity be trying to call a top here? Or would the easier opportunity be waiting for that to pull back to the 20, waiting for that to pull back to the 50, and just seeing that curl up into positive territory? That's all I'm saying. I'm very confident in you, Tina. I'm very confident in all you guys. I think all of you guys are, like, for the most part, people who show up here every single day. You guys genuinely are paying attention. You're asking great questions. So I love to see it. And I think that you guys have all the tools in your brain to do it. You just have to implement it maybe a little bit better if you're struggling. Because I'm trying to put out info, and I know that I have to give both cases, right? I have to give both cases because it is good to pay attention to, right? It will help you in the long run, even if maybe I'm a little confusing to you because I'm mentioning both cases, right? But what was the most probable thing to happen right here? We mentioned you're looking for this right here. It happened. This, I thought the most probable thing was gap to a sell zone, then sell off. We gapped above that entire sell zone, so we've moved this zone up. But that's important because now you've gotten rid of a lot of those sellers, and now you go into the bullish trend, you violate divergences. The market's going to do what the market wants to do, and the market wants to keep being irrational. SPY starting to break through. Watch your daily videos and lives as part of my routine now. And I think that's fantastic, Chris. And I don't want this to be like, I can't do anything wrong. I know that I make mistakes, okay? I want you guys to give me your opinion. Call out when you think a mistake is being said or displayed, and then say, hey, did you think of this, right? Overall, we want the channel to be productive, right? We want it to be helpful. We want it to be productive. So now, Tina, you're more thinking of maybe I'll just wait for the pullback? Or are you trying to play that downturn? What do you think? I'll go buy the course. I'll tell you what, King Arthur, I'm going to do a Christmas sale for you guys. So all you new guys coming in, if you like the channel, you have time to watch the channel. If you really want to learn right now, you can go get it. But I'm going to do a little bit of a discount going into, I think, New Year, New Me. And the best way to display New Year, New Me is around Christmas time all the way through towards the new year, maybe the first week of January. I really do think, especially since someone emailed me and said, hey, I accidentally bought the wrong course and now it's not on sale. We did return it back, and then we said, okay, we'll just wait for the next sale. I don't follow his ideas. Hey, that's fine, YS, and that's cool. And I think YS, I like that you come in and you say some different stuff than what I think, and I think that's fantastic. Like, I love other opinions. This is like one of the benefits to me in this trading community that we've built here is I get to hear other opinions. It makes me think of things differently. So SPY starting to break through. Q is really breaking through. About to go test a monthly expected move, still holding the divergence point as we get there. So little scary there, but we could be above the 5 again. So nothing to be really that scared of if we think about it like, hey, are we above the 5 or below it? We're above it, right? Oh, shoot. I gotta go. Last thing I want to do is just look at that NVIDIA thing for you guys again here. Show that this is trying to make the upward move, right? The way that we need to treat this is still very cautiously, right? This is still in negative territory. This is not out of the woods yet. This hasn't broken through that breakdown area. So a good confirmation that you're going to really see upside is that 2 hour to cross. Now I'm taking it because I'm confident in managing risk. I haven't had to do that just yet. If that opportunity comes to light, I will do that. 2 hour for the Q and SPY. Let me actually go look real quick so I'm not missing it. I'm just really focused on that 30-minute. Yeah, it's still there, but you can see how if that 2 hour goes up, And it could reject. That's why the 30-minute could reject here, and then you could say rejection divergence. You genuinely could. But I don't, I just, I have a really hard time thinking that the SPY does not make another point of divergence, meaning the Qs go a little bit higher. But hey, that's just me. I'll pay attention to them. We'll put out a YouTube video tonight with the price action. If I see anything important during the day, I'm putting it on Patreon, all right? Oh, sorry, that is these two lines. So whenever I say 2-hour cross, it's either going to be talking about the MACD. Most of the time it's MACD. Sometimes it's the RSI crossing that center line. But yeah, when they cross, I'm talking about this. I'm like, oh, when that 2-hour crosses, that's always going to be about the indicator. All right, most of the time when it's about price action, I will say above the 5, above the 9. Yeah, so I do have to pop out. My wife just came down, kind of gave me a look, so I gotta go. But I really do thank you guys. I think we had a great stream. Welcome to the new people in here. Kevin, thank you so much for the $2. Hopefully that you guys found something good to take away from this video. That's the overall goal of this channel. I'm gonna leave you guys on a 30-minute. I still think you need to be aware if this is some kind of trap. We do see the dollar kind of moving higher. We see that it could consolidate down for that head and shoulders. Starting to get above there though, so interesting look there. Volatility continues to drop off. The VVIX is holding at that higher level, just so you are aware. So expect a little bit of volatility in today's market. And notice that the 30-minute is still holding with the divergence point here. So we'd really have to violate that to get more bullish. Even though it is a great bullish move, I do like it. I am behind it in some way, but be aware if this 30-minute crosses back down. I think it's relatively unlikely, unless, let me just check a micro. Yeah, you're starting to see little bits of, hey, we could pull back. If we do that before we get outside of the monthly expected move, ooh, we could see something good. So not really seeing too much there. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. Thank you guys for talking a bunch today. I think it was awesome. Medicine phase 3, really? Oh, we like some phase 3. Hopefully it doesn't, with those experiments, it's kind of like pass or fail, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe we can talk about that next time, YS. All right, guys, I got to hop off. Have a great, great day. All right, make sure you're managing risk. And overall, guys, stay in control of your trades. When you take a trade, have a plan for if it goes up, have a plan for if it goes down. It will really, really help you out over time. Thank you guys so much. Love you guys. I hope you guys have all the luck in the world trading today, and I will see you later tonight on YouTube. Peace. Oh, good luck to you, Game Stoppers. Peace out.